Hey team, and welcome to the video version of the Funnily Enough podcast. This is where you get the raw, unedited version of the interviews that we do on the show. If you're more of an audio person, then head over to Apple Podcasts or any of the platforms that you like that supports podcasting, and you can listen to the fully edited thing there with intros, outros, and all the fun little jingles. However, if you're more of a video person, then that is coming right up. Kim Garst, welcome to the Funnily Enough show. How are you?
I am doing great. Excited to be here. Just the title alone is intriguing.
It's a pleasure to have you. And like I said off air, for those of the people that are watching are going to get the delight of those amazing glasses that you're wearing. If you're listening, you need to check it out. They're amazing. I'm an Aberdeen fan. It's a football team here in Scotland that play in red. So I appreciate the glasses.
It's they've kind of become a part of my brand. These red glasses, And when I have glasses are an accessory to me. So I have a lot of different colors, and when I don't wear the red, everybody's like, "Well, where's your red glasses?" I'm like, "Okay, let me change my glasses real quick."
Love it. I feel like I should maybe just get a pair of non-lensed glasses just
Yeah.
to rock them. Kim, let's get straight to the serious questions. How do you like your eggs in the morning? Fried, poached, scrambled?
I like scrambled, fried, and poached.
Oh
So,
wow!
and I mix them up so
All
I
of the
don't get
above.
bored with any one variation. So yeah, I like them all.
Funnily enough, see what I did there?
Uh-huh.
I do the exact same. I try and
Yeah,
rotate my egg
yeah,
consumption,
yeah.
but never mind. Kim, you are, according to your site and other sources, one of the most retweeted marketers out there, which I feel is an awesome title slash term slash thing to have. What makes you, or what I should say is, what do you do on Twitter that makes that true? What do you do on Twitter to get those retweets, and what do you do differently to people? What are you just great at on Twitter?
Okay. Well, I for years have leveraged the power of Twitter to share my blog content. It drives about 1 million clicks a year to my blog
Wow,
content.
amazing.
So for people who feel like that Twitter is, this like dinosaur bone place out there that nobody uses anymore, I just like to say, no, that's not true. People are still leveraging Twitter, and I think Twitter is honestly it's a content engine. People are searching for content there. So if you have good content, you're sharing it there, people are seeing it, finding it, etc. Then it's an opportunity to drive traffic. In my experience, I've been online and owned an online business for over 28 years now, so dating myself a minute there, but it's the best free traffic source I've ever found.
Wow, that's amazing. So how do you differentiate, or how do you ensure that your feed on Twitter doesn't just become lots and lots of links through to your site? How do you make your, because obviously if you're doing that, you are sending people to really valuable content, but how do you make that experience on Twitter valuable to the person seeing the tweets?
So I do mix it up. I have a variety of different content. I share inspiration or humor and some other types of content. So it's just not just one consistent like blog post after blog post, just to engage with people on more what I call a relatability factor, where you're just connecting with people around, like I say, inspiration or making them laugh, or really getting people to chat with you essentially. Sometimes they don't do that with just content, because they'll go to your blog and they don't sometimes come back to Twitter and say, oh, that was a great blog post. But if you can share, something that sparks an emotion, then they're way more likely to actually engage with you. So I've just married the content strategy with some other types of content that is like I say, more of an engagement style of content.
Yeah, I love it. And because I'm not going to lie, I found back 3-4 years ago, loved Twitter, and I was on it all the time, like tweeting everything. And actually, the thing that I found most valuable from Twitter was if I was going to an event, let's say social media marketing world, an event that we both go to, I would go to the hashtag and literally just reply to every single tweet. I get to the event and like I feel like I know everybody there already. It was amazing for that. But I found it over the last maybe 12 to 18 months harder to grow in terms of my following, and it still has amazing impact for that hashtag like going and searching and talking to people, but I feel like I've maybe got slightly lazy with my Twitter. So because I'm a massive fan of Instagram stories, so how can you, or how do you tie the likes of Instagram stories to your tweets, to your blog, to your, like, what do you do a lot of content repurposing, and what does that look like?
I do. Well, first, let me talk about Twitter just real quick, and we'll tie that off. But Twitter has they continually shoot themselves in the foot, frankly, in my opinion. I'm not sure who's driving the boat over there, but they are, they have just continued to, curtail their API, which has made it very hard for tools to serve the community from a growth, so that there used to be so many growth tools out there. Now, it's just really hard. So from that perspective, I would say that if you're just getting started and trying to build community on Twitter, it would be a little tougher, I think, than it was, when I started. Now I have, a huge community there, but trying to replicate what I did now would probably be a little bit harder in the Twitter space. I foresee Twitter, if they're smart, becoming some sort of a media, letting some big media company buy them out, because that's technically what they are. People leverage them for media purposes or information purposes, but that's a story for another day. But bumping over to Instagram, I'm with you. I love Instagram stories. I have been really working on my own strategy around Instagram stories. And when it comes to content and repurposing content, absolutely, I do repurpose content. In fact, we have an in-house strategy where, if I do a live video or even a video across the board, and, we take that video, turn it into a blog post, repurpose it, sometimes upwards to, 150, 200 pieces of content from that one video. And I frequently teach this, instead of sitting down and writing a blog that's going to take you 3 to 4 hours, sit down and talk about your 5 ways to do X in front of a video camera. Yep. Record that, and now you can leverage that. You can turn it into your blog post, transcribe it, turn it into your blog post, put it on YouTube, cut it up into clips, create images. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do with that one piece of content that you've spent 30 minutes creating versus 4 hours writing it. And it's more of a conversational tone anyway. So and with that strategy in play, then you can create content that is unique to each platform, which I do believe you should do if at all possible. Even if it's a formatting issue or changing the words slightly, putting in a different image on a background. There's lots of ways that you can, differentiate your content so that it's not exactly the same. Now, I will say that your community might be totally different on different platforms too. You may find that your audience, in fact, this is exactly my dynamic between Facebook and Twitter. Facebook, I'm heavily female. There's way more women that follow me on Facebook. And then I have the flip side dynamic on Twitter. So, it's just a really interesting thing. And I do share content based around the fact that I know my demographic on specific platforms. I might use way more women in the backgrounds for, imagery and things of this nature if I know that my ideal person on that platform is a woman.
Yep.
So changing up your content, making sure it does fit and is native more for that individual platform, especially Instagram stories. I mean, there's such a huge opportunity right now.
Absolutely.
Stories and IGTV.
That's amazing. I've just finished off for our academy a course on Instagram, and it's heavily dominated by Instagram stories, just because the potential to create a mass dialogue with your audience is just, I've never seen it. And actually the only thing that I've seen come close to Instagram stories for me recently on being able to start a dialogue with the people that follow me is LinkedIn Live. I've been going live on LinkedIn now for the last 2-3 weeks, and it's just such a good platform.
That is interesting that you say that. I haven't heard anyone's talk about Facebook Live, or at least their results with Facebook Live. I'm sorry, not Facebook Live, LinkedIn, going live on LinkedIn. And I haven't done that yet. So that inspires me to check that out.
Yeah, I'm going to be posting a video, well, next week from the time of this recording, on my results from LinkedIn Live. Because I got it randomly. I never even applied for it. I went live every single day, or have for the last 2-3 weeks. And it's just been awesome.
That is so great.
Yeah, I think.
Is it dialogue, or is it like, so going back to Instagram stories real quick, and then I want to ask, I'm asking you a question, but the Instagram stories, what I have found as it relates to anytime I do an Instagram story, almost, and in fact, I don't know if I've ever created an Instagram story where I haven't had a DM, where somebody hasn't reached out personally and had opened the door to a conversation. And that is gold. I've said for a long time, we are moving to one-on-one conversations in the social space. And when you can create a piece of content that actually gets people, not just like on Facebook where they're like, they respond and they comment below, but that's a private conversation on with stories where they're personally DMing you, and it's just magical thing.
It's amazing.
On your LinkedIn Lives, from the standpoint of engagement, I love that. Is it driving business your way? I'm just curious. Are you just out there just trying to, build the community first and then monetize?
Yeah. So what I've found from the LinkedIn Lives is, first of all, enormous amounts of engagement. Second of all, on the actual lives itself, so comments, reactions. Second of all, people showing up consistently, people that I don't know, because it's relatively new. Everybody gets notified that I've gone live when I go live. And
like Periscope back in the day.
Yeah. And thirdly, it actually reminds me a lot of Periscope when it first came out. And thirdly, lots of DMs from people. And I can't tell you specific numbers here because I don't have them. But anecdotally, lots of DMs that are things like, been watching your LinkedIn Lives, would love to learn more about how you work, or whether you can help me with these ads or whatever it is. So yeah, awesome. It's really, really cool. Kim, I'm going to interrupt proceedings because it's time for a game. This game is one of my favorite games. It's called the 5-second rule. Have you ever heard of it or played it before?
I have not heard of it, but it should be fun.
It is a lot of fun. So let me get my timer out. The rules are simple. Basically, I'm going to give you some statements. It'll be things like, name 3 types of bird, and you have to give me an answer within 5 seconds. If you get correct answer, you get a point. If you don't get a point, and you're competing against all your fellow guests. So, first question, and this isn't part of the actual quiz. Would you like to go yellow cards or red cards? Yellow's slightly harder.
Red, of course.
Let's go red. Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready? Let's do this. Name 3 places to find water.
The ocean, a lake, and your kitchen sink.
Is out. So we need to be quicker. We need to be quicker than that. So I read the statement, then you get 5, and then the time starts. This is a tough one. Name 3 TV detectives.
Oh, wow. Columbo, Cagney and Lacey. That was 3.
That was 3. Well done. 1 out of 2. Next one. Name 3. So just to give you context, these ones can be, I can't actually tell you whether this is right or not. So you can just make this up. Name 3 of your neighbors.
Oh, Pat, Tom, and Stacy.
Nice. Name 3 places to sunbathe.
The beach, the pool, your backyard.
Nice. Name 3 princes, and that's male.
3 princes. Oh gosh. oh man.
Time's out.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I couldn't do it. Froze.
I don't think I could get that. Name 3 words that rhyme with door.
Store, more, poor.
Oh, you got it just in time. Name name 3 things that you trim.
Your mustache, your beard, your hair.
Nice. You kept it clean there. Name 3 things that smell.
Your refrigerator, your trash, my son's hockey bag.
Time is out. Name 3 people involved with the law.
A policeman, Homeland Security, the president. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Last one. Name 3 ice cream toppings.
Sprinkles, Cool Whip, and chocolate syrup.
I'm going to give you that one. It was
Okay.
just in. So that is it. We got Kim Garst scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 10. Kim,
Well, hey,
I'll
not
tell
so
you,
bad.
You're not the worst. You're not the best. You're in the middle.
That's kind of hard. It's pressure too.
It's a hard game.
Yeah.
When I've played that game with family, there's been some real tension. Let's call it that. Kim, I would love to we've spoken about repurposing, we've spoken about Instagram stories and a little bit of the kind of marketing world. I'd love to get to know you a little bit. So something that we both have in common is that we both come from small towns. I come from a very small place called Lerwick in the Shetland Islands, which is a town of about 3,000 people on an island in Scotland of about 20,000 people. So it's a kind of place where everyone knows everyone. Everyone's your cousin, everyone's your uncle, and everyone's your dad type place.
And everyone knows your business.
Exactly. Exactly that. I want to know, how have you gone from small town girl to one of the biggest names in the marketing space? Was that always an ambition for you? Is it something that's just happened? Tell me a bit about that.
No, it has definitely been a series of circumstances that just evolved. I frequently tell people I'm an accidental entrepreneur, and it has been, something now that, my mom used to say before she passed that I've always been an entrepreneur. I always could figure out how to make money. She always said that about me. And of course, I didn't know it at the time. But quick backstory, I grew up in, like you said, in a very small town. To this day, there are still no stoplights in the town. I mean,
wow.
It's, not one stoplight. So there were 50 people in my graduating class, so very, very small. And my husband and I are high school sweethearts, and we just had our 34th wedding anniversary.
Congrats.
So been married a minute, but he was he went into the military out of high school. We got married a few years later. I went to college. He went in the military. And that took me out of that small town, and we got to see a lot of different places. And in about the 5-year mark, we decided we were going to have children. When my oldest son was born, I decided that it was funny because I had big plans. I was the only one in my family that had finished college. And so that was a big deal. And I was getting ready to go to law school, and thought I could handle it all. New baby, law school, I can do this. And that was the plan until they laid him in my arms. And I was like, yeah, I can't do that. My priorities shifted in that moment, and I didn't foresee that. So I became a stay-at-home mom, went from 2 incomes to 1, young, naive. We thought we could do it. It quickly became a, borrow from Peter to pay Paul scenario with, the 1 income versus the 2. And I was like, okay, what can I do? Like, I've got to figure something out, or I'm going to have to go back to the corporate world, and I'm going to have to put my child in daycare. So that was when the internet was just beginning to, I mean, it had been out there for a bit, but it was just beginning to become commercial. And of course, all the educators kicking and screaming because they didn't want it to become a commercial place. But of course, there were no resources either then. You couldn't watch YouTube videos to figure out how to do something, or there was no blogs, in 1991. So I basically just taught myself web design. And it went from there, and I would just continually see opportunities. So, they would get their website, hosting, I need hosting now. So, I started a hosting company. I even had a dial-up company back in the day. One thing just begat another, and the whole marketing element came about once people had their websites up and running, and they're like, now what? How do I market my business, my new website? And so that spawned a whole other layer of my entrepreneurial side. And when I realized my knowledge was way more valuable than, the services I offered, that's when my businesses really started to take off.
And that's when you moved into online courses?
And actually, the online courses has been something that I just dug into about 6-7 years ago because I was trading time for money.
Yeah, so this is what I was going to ask you about next is,
yeah.
on your site, you've spoken about trading time for money, and how you're kind of constantly in this hamster wheel, which is often what I talk about with the Funnel Academy. Is so many business owners are in this, whether it's 5 or 6 figures hamster wheel of trading time for money, doing everything they can to get clients, getting clients, and then not having time to get new clients. And I wanted to ask, first of all, when you're in that situation, what were like 1 or 2 things that you did that helped you get out of that? And when I say 1 or 2 things, I mean like specific, actionable things that if someone is listening going, God, that sounds like me, like what can they do tomorrow or today to start the process of getting out of that?
So my very first thing that I did when I realized I needed to figure out how to do this. So my biggest realization was, here I was in the social media space with this massive community. And then, so that's social media marketing, right? And then you have digital marketing on the other side. And I'm like, I have what they don't have and they have what I don't have. They have the money knowledge, essentially, how the whole digital processes and how you put all that in place. And then I have a community that I've built for free. They're paying for their traffic and I have free traffic, but I don't have the other side. I don't know that stuff. And so the very first thing that I did was I invested in Digital Marketers War Room, which is a high-end mastermind that they have. I just plugged in. I started learning all of their, how you built a funnel, all of that. And I stayed in their war room for, I think, 5 or 6 years, soaking up knowledge and, implementing that in my business. So every war room, when I went, I would choose 3 things because, they're like, they dump out all these gems on the floor and then you have to pick up a few of them and take them into your business, kind of thing. But if I had to do it over again today, I would probably plug into somebody who is very focused on just the funnel processes. Like you're talking about, you have a course that teaches people how to build a funnel, because that is the game changer, folks. If you have knowledge, or if you're on the hamster wheel, I've been there. I'm so passionate about this because I have been that person where I was so way overextended, and I was working with the wrong people too, frankly. I mean, major corporations like, Microsoft or MasterCard were hiring me and they were paying me good money, but the constant hustle of trying to get new clients like that, it was wearing. I mean, it was hard.
Pitches and
And
presentations and
yes.
proposals.
And you go to these conferences and they're not your people. Like, it's just different marketing speak. I speak online speak and they speak corporate speak.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just semantics, right? But I was at I spoke at a network marketing event, and I realized, oh my goodness, these people are my people with hot dreams, people that, want more and are going to take what you share with them and take it into their businesses and do amazing things with it. I'm like, yeah, these are my people. And so that's really what I have focused on is, how do I shorten the learning curve? Because, it took me 5 years to make my first $60. So I'm extremely passionate about taking something that's complex and simplifying it so that anybody can do it, and take that into their business and do amazing things with it.
I love
So the
that.
funnels are the game changer, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I just think both from a funnel point of view and what you say there about the people, the right people are the ones that will take what you teach them and actually do something about it. Like,
Yeah.
and I just think with everything I ever put out, whether it's a blog, a guide, a video, actually working with a brand one-on-one, whatever it is, it's like you're going to get people that they might buy, like they might have people that buy your course and never finish it. That's some people. Like, you can take their money, and then you have people that buy your course, they do everything, they see the results. So you're still getting the same amount of money from them from like a course creator point of view. But the first people that aren't actually doing the results, other than their money, you're not getting any benefit from them, and they're not getting any benefit from you. They're not your right people. You need to focus on the people that will actually buy your product and action it and take action on that. Kim, I wish I could speak to you all day. I really could. There's so much I'd love to talk to you about courses and funnels and all those amazing things, but we have reached our time, unfortunately. So I want to ask you one final question, which is let me word this correctly. If we could fast forward 10 years, what advice would you give your current self? So if you were 10 years older, looking at yourself currently, what advice do you think you'd give yourself right now?
I think the advice I would give myself right now, because it's probably one of my biggest struggles, is to release my sense of perfection. I'm really very much a perfectionist, and I've gotten better, but I can't even say that I'm a recovering perfectionist yet.
What do you
So
feel the perfectionism holds you back with?
a lot of things, from a team perspective, instead of giving feedback to help them get better, it's, let me just go do this real quick because I know what I want, instead of, really slowing down and saying, hey, do it this way, which makes them feel terrible because they feel like they haven't met my expectations, and so it's one of those things I really had to start to, put some boundaries around my own, like, let me just do it. My skills are so wide that it's easy for me just to make that leap. Like, it'll only take me 5 minutes, and it'll take me 5 minutes to tell them how to do it, and then they have to go do it. So it holds us back from a team perspective. Even from a launch perspective, like, I'm not sure this is good enough yet, when nobody but me would probably know that it's not good enough. Most people would say, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's my own high expectations that holds us back in a lot of different ways, I think.
Amazing. Kim, I feel like everything you've said has resonated with me personally on a personal level on this podcast. So I thank you so, so much for spending the time and chatting to me and all the amazing people that are listening. Give everybody a little 30 seconds on where they can find you and anything you want to talk about.
Sure, absolutely. You can find me on my website is kimgarst.com, and you can find me on all social media platforms under my name, Kim Garst, as well. Google me. I promise you can find me.
Yeah.
And there's lots of great free content on my blog, so feel free to tap into it, specifically around course building, by the way.
Yeah, everybody go check out Kim's content because it is awesome stuff. Kim, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And well, thank you.
Yeah, super excited that I was asked, not allowed maybe, but asked to come and be a part of this new show, Gavin. Thank you so much. And I'm super excited for you. I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you. Hey team, me again, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching the video version of the podcast. And I hope you took something away from that. Maybe a smile, maybe something of inspiration, or maybe an idea came to your mind. Be sure to drop me a comment and let me know what that thing was for you. Now, if you want to listen to more or watch more episodes of the podcast, you can do that here on YouTube or Facebook, or head over to Apple Podcasts or the podcasting platform of your choice. Just be sure to hit subscribe, leave us a little review and a 5-star rating, and I will love you forever. See you in the next episode.